So for example, wetlands is a big deal. So if the property is wet, it has wetlands, they are federally protected, so you can't build on them. So a lot of times, like we'll talk to people and they'll like do a quote submission on our website. We also like buy land, right? For people, if they run into our website, they can submit quote and we can give them a quote. And then, if we agree on a price, we buy from them. So a lot of people who do quote submissions on our website, they unknowingly bought land with wetlands on them. And later when they try to build on it, they realize, well, they can't really build on it because, they're federally protected and you have to go through like wetland mitigation and it's very expensive. So, people just don't build it. So if you buy something like that, it's going to be very hard to sell it later. So that's one. The other thing is environmental contamination. So if there was like if say you're buying a commercial property and there was like a gas station or like a dry cleaning business or some sort of like pesticide use was done on the property, it contaminates soil and then you cannot put a septic system. You cannot or like the well, the water, won't be drinkable. So all sorts of problems you have to deal with. So that's another thing. There's also access is a big deal. A lot of times properties will have physical access, but it won't have legal access. So if you don't have legal access, that means you cannot get permits to build on it because, like if you want to run electricity, they have to run through a legal road. You can't just randomly go through someone's property. You will have to request for easements, right? So there's also flood zones, flood risk, especially in Florida, like in coastal areas. That's a big deal because if it's like in a special hazard flood zone, you can only build on stilts. So it's BFE, base flood elevation. You have to meet certain height, and that makes it very expensive.